Another edition of the Ultimate Kaya959 Top 30. Now, the number one song for the past 2 weeks is a song that I think came full circle. You know, I first played this song as a future hit. It was not on the chart then. Fast forward to the past 2 weeks, Lwandle is number one. And I've got Zano and Hlobeautiful in studio. The two people on that song, by the way. Sharp Gunjana Fitz.
Easy jest. You're good.
Yeah, I'm very good.
Your song is number one for 2 weeks.
I wanted to say, I think, are you a prophet?
Okay, could be. Okay.
Because the song was on Future Hits and here we are today.
Yeah. And you know, the day I played it, I remember Andy Makondwana saying, this is such a beautiful song. I was like, right? And it took like, I think 2 or 3 weeks before we put it on. So it didn't even go on the very next week. But I'll chat about that, right? Nice. Of course, we know Zano. We also want to try to get you as Hlobeautiful, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't know about you, right?
Yes.
Hlobeautiful is from Bushbuck Ridge.
Yes, Tulamash to be exact.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, tell us about growing up in Bushbuck Ridge.
Okay, so I didn't initially grow up in Tulamash. Okay. I grew up at a nearby village called MP Stream. So it was my grandmother's place. So most of my formative years, I was there. We only moved into Tulamash, which is a township, when I was 12 years old. Yeah. So that was my pre-teen years, like the rest of my life. That's where I spent it. But my formative years were in MP Stream. But while both places fall under the Bushbuck Ridge municipality. Yeah. So, you know, typical things like if there's wind, there's no electricity, we go fetch water somewhere down there, you know? Yeah. Those things, yeah.
And now obviously, Tulamash, there was that big music festival. I don't know if it still happens.
TMF, no. Like, I hope the organizers are listening because, guys, what's going on?
Yeah. And obviously, when you grow up around you, what's happening around you? In terms of inspirations, because I've never heard of a musician from Tulamaha. Unfortunately.
Okay, so where I come from, because we are considered far away from everything else. So it's a lot of, if you are not good academically, you are going to end up there. So it's a lot of, are you good in maths and physics? Yeah. And my dad was a maths and physics teacher. Okay. So he made me do maths and physics. And every time I came back with my report card, didn't care about English, Afrikaans, arts and culture. Yeah. It was maths and English. So that's the environment I grew up in. Yeah. I grew up herding my grandmother's goats. So I was not given an opportunity to be scared of creatures. Like, it was not optional.
Were there no boys in your family?
Actually, my dad only has 3 girls and 7 boys. But somehow I had to herd the goats. So, but I never learned how to start a fire, surprisingly. I guess I was too busy with the goats. Yeah. So, but in terms of inspiration, so I come from jukebox days at the tavern. Yeah. So whenever Brenda Fassie released a song, we're going to listen to that song for as long as the money payers wanted to listen to it. And we weren't very far from it. So it felt as though they were playing those songs in my yard. Yeah. I grew up to a lot of trompies. My dad loved jazz. Well, he still does. So a lot of Brahu Masikela, and every now and then we'd have Il Divo. We also used to play a lot of Oliver Mtukudzi. Okay. Yeah, all of the albums. So if we were driving to Johannesburg, I don't know if you're familiar with the old cars. They used to load like 6 discs at once.
A shuttle. They call it a shuttle.
A shuttle. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So all of those shuttles would have Oliver Mtukudzi in them, and we would come here. It's like a 5-hour drive. We'd reach Johannesburg with Oliver Mtukudzi, and I don't understand Shona, but I knew the lyrics. Yeah. That's how much we played it. So in terms of inspiration and always leaning towards folk music, African folk music, it has to be the kind of music I grew up around.
Yeah. All right. Her name is Hlobeautiful. She's on a song called Lwandle with Malume Zano, currently number 1 on the Ultimate Kaya959 Top 30. 2 weeks now. Malume, do you think it'll go for the 3rd week?
Well, I hope it does.
Yeah.
I really hope it does, because I mean the song was made with so much love, man. You know, I think the day we made the song,
Yeah.
you know, it was very spontaneous.
Okay.
We didn't really struggle with the content.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm a person who feeds off conversations.
Yeah.
So sometimes somebody hears a song that I wrote and then they think it's about my personal life.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, no, it's conversations, chief. You know,
Okay.
I'm always plugging into conversations, and I know that, you know, I mean, myself included, you know, some of us are in long distance relationships.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, the song came about from that kind of conversation, or, you know, those kind of long distance centered kind of conversations.
Yeah.
It was very easy. We came up with the song, and we even shot videos of ourselves recording,
really?
you know,
Okay.
because the first time we heard the song, we were
Yeah.
like, this is special.
Yeah.
And like, for me, I'm that kind of producer and composer who I like working on special content.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not personally, I'm not a big fan of following a specific trend. I go with where my spirit leads me.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess that's why a song like Lwandle, you know, has been able to climb the charts, you know, the way that it has over here at Kaya, and it's managed to make an impact and really touch the heart of the people, which is what I always want. I just want the song to touch someone.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have to market and promote it, do
Yeah.
gimmicks and do that gimmick. You know, the song just touched people's hearts, and you know, that's, if that is done, my work is done.
Yeah. Is it the Mpumalanga connection that's making this work? I mean, you're also from Mpumalanga,
Yes.
but from a different part of it.
Yes.
Do you think that has something to do with the song working so well?
I don't know. I think there's something in the waters, man, in the Mpumalanga province.
Right.
You know, I think there's just something in the water.
There's just a lot of talent that side.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent, and you know, I think also with regards to my background, I mean, growing up in Balenhle, in the Mpumalanga province, well, it used to be a small mining township. Now it's no longer a small mining township. Now it's huge, and it's growing because they're discovering more minerals that side, and they're building more mines. So the township is growing and growing.
Yeah.
We didn't have the luxury, if I may put it that way, of a lot of creatives that grew up in Gauteng.
Yes. Yeah.
Who would, it would be easy to say, hey, lo mama loana lapana, you know, ekhoneni u-actor kuphi, you know, le time alile sibone time njani uli bubble gum sibone bani yabona. We didn't grow up in that environment where we have famous people, but I've always found that worked to our favor, because then it allowed us to really develop our uniqueness.
Yeah.
You know, because then we don't necessarily have a sound that is influenced a lot by the well-known people that are around. You know, I think our only influence would be radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, because we would always listen to the radio. Would be TV. You know, I used to be that kid who stays up very late to watch music videos, because back in the days of TV1, you know, by the time it hits 11 or 12, there's no longer broadcast on the channel, so they put music videos between 12 and 6 a.m.
Okay.
So I'd literally sit up from 12 midnight with my VHS asedladleni. By empty. I'd always go by empty. The empty VHS and just record
the video.
my music videos, and that was my inspiration.
Yeah.
And I think growing up in an environment that is not tampered with, in terms of having abantu abafamous that live eKasi, really gave me the opportunity to develop myself as an artist, as a writer, because I'm a writer first, and as a producer, you know, and then as an artist. So that's why I'm saying maybe there's something in the water in Mpumalanga.
I really think there's something in the water, because your first choice was not music. You found music along the way.
Yeah.
Same with Hlo. Hlo is an graduate from AFDA with live performance, but here she is, right? You think about it. For you, music. I mean, here you are at AFDA, Pelada. I'd say iskolo seitering, because everybody wants to act. You know, everyone wants to be. How did the music thing happen for you?
I actually went to AFDA to study acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's for stirrings only.
For sure. Yeah.
But AFDA wasn't even the first tertiary institution I went to. I actually went to the University of Pretoria to study actuarial sciences. So remember I said my dad made sure that mathematics was on point.
Yeah.
So I did it for a while. I remember first year and second year I even had distinctions, which was a marvel because it's notorious for being a difficult course. But it got to a point where I went into really deep sadness. We can even say depression. I was just not happy. Waking up to go to class I didn't have the strength to do it anymore.
What was causing that?
I didn't want to do it. Like, I used to think, so when I'm done here, I'm actually going to go sit in traffic Monday to Friday, actually Saturday, because we know corporate jobs are actually not Monday to Friday. And I will be in an office in front of a laptop, building models and all of that. Like, it could never be me. I could not see myself doing that. And since childhood, I've actually been interested in the arts. I always participated in school plays and like I'd even win awards for it. So my family knew I was good at it. It's just I was also good at maths. You know, so if you have a choice.
And that has a lot of security, I guess.
Exactly.
You know, that kind of job then.
And like I said, I grew up in the village. My parents were trying to make sure that by all means necessary, we do not go back there. I'm grateful that they understood when I told them I can't do this. Well, I mean, I first applied. Then 2016, my dad gave me registration money to go register at tax, you know, like normal students do. I did not go to tax. I went to AFDA. That's where I left my registration money. Then I got there. I realized, the University of Pretoria is obviously cheap. So I had to call home and be like, listen, Dad, we're a bit short. He's like, what do you mean? I mean, when you left, you told me how much you needed. I'm like, so I'm not at tax. I'm at AFDA and I actually also need accommodation because we had a flat in Pretoria where my brother and I stayed at. So I'm like, I also need a place now in Johannesburg. But I think the reason why my dad was very supportive is that when I was 8 years old, he actually left teaching to go back to school to study medicine because that was his passion. So everyone else was shook, but he was like,
So he understood.
Yeah, these things happen. So I didn't have to fight that hard. Yeah.
You got into AFDA, but the music thing?
Oh, yes. So orientation week, they're talking about, there's auditions for music. I'm like, you know what? I've never been on Idols. I'm probably never going to go there. Let's go see what it feels like to audition. What song can I sing real quick, you know, just to test this? So I get into the queue and obviously everyone in the queue wanted to be in music. I didn't care. It was a fun time that I was having. I even went to the front of the line because no one wanted to go in next. You know, I'm not ready. I didn't warm up. I'm like, let me go. And then a week later, I got a letter that said I was in. It's like, oh, okay. So I went and tried it out. In first year, you can do acting and music because they understand that maybe people aren't sure. Then second year came. That was a very hard day for me during registration. I wasn't sure if I'm going to go to acting or music. And I sort of felt guilty because, I mean, at home I told everyone I'm going to study acting. And this is after dropping out. Now I'm going to come back with another story.
You've changed the game.
Like, this girl, where is the focus? But so I registered for acting. I went there for 2 days. Then I went back to the registrar. I was like... I was joking.
Actually, that's
I'm here for the music. Let's do music. So that's how I got into music. It was not a straight road.
For you, some people might think it's straight because whenever you read about Zano, the story is he met Shana. After meeting Shana, you know, Shota signed him. Things started happening. Happiness happened with Black Coffee. He blew up. That's the story. What's the real story?
The real story is I wanted to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Like I grew up wanting to be a medical and now that I think about it, I think it's only because growing up in the 80s, we used to have certain designated careers for black kids.
Yes.
So it's either a doctor, uyi-nurse, uyi-phoyisa. Like it's funny because at that time, like being a policeman was a big deal, you know. And then the firefighting thing was starting to come along because we're starting to have firefighting stations. And then now parents are like, no, be a firefighter, or a teacher. So as a child, I was reared a lot into the medical field. And I actually liked it, you know, because I grew up having something in me that just wants to heal people. And at that time, I interpreted it as being a medical doctor. And then, lo and behold, one day I'm watching a National Geographic docu on the then, now SCPC3. And they were showing an operation, you know, and I'm thinking, man, I never fit. Nah, I'm not gonna be dealing with so much blood. No, 'cause I don't like that much blood. Like it's, you know, like okay, sharp. You know, if I've got a cut, whatever, it's fine. But now, blood gushing out, and then you have to upatanisa la putlanganisa, and I was like, this is not me. And funny enough, I had a big brother who was into Amakwaya Sekas and Tlapentep, and I used to go to his concerts, and I don't know. So if he has competitions, you know, performances, every Sunday, because there's Lisa Dila Chaba, and then you'd have all these choirs from Gauteng. Baroris Mamoreda would come to Secunda, you know, and it would be Baroris Mamoreda versus Lisa Dila Chaba, you know, and they'll be performing together. So it's like, it's made to be like a modern day visas, for instance. You know, and we would go home, and like the whole township would go and watch these choirs. And I grew up under that kind of culture. So at the back of my mind, I've always been inspired by music, but it wasn't conscious. Only up until I got to grade 11. That's when I made a choice to say, you know what, I really want to be a musician. And I remember this one day in class, you know, teacher asked Buzuguti, so what do you want to be when you leave school? I want to be a lawyer. I want to be an engineer. I want to be
things.
You know, and remember, I come from a mining township, right? So coming from a mining township, it can slay to literally like 90% of the population is employed by one company. Right? So Nami, growing up, I was already being directed towards that because the skill, you know, we were fine with mathematics, with physics, chemistry. You know, so it's like a path was already made for me to go that route. So what do you want to be in it? I want to be a musician. And the guy was like, Chief, do you know how Mahlachini died? I'm like, man, what does Mahlachini got to do with what I want to do? You know, and it's every kid who grew up in the 80s will tell you, every kid who wanted to be a musician, who wanted to be in the arts, every parent without fail would be like Mahlatin. Because Mahlatin, remember, was this huge, big international superstar, right? And he died poor. And now that narrative carried on, as in like Vela artists, they always die poor, you know. But I stuck to my guns, man. I told my dad, you know, we laugh about it now, but when I told my dad, I think I was finishing grade 12, I was like, okay, Sharp, there's an opportunity to get a scholarship to go study chemical engineering, but I'm going to pass because I want to do music. My dad was pissed. My dad was like, understandably, you know. And I remember I was given an ultimatum. They told me, it's either I go study, you know, something worthwhile, or I work to take myself to school to study what I want to do. So I went with the latter, you know. And for the next 4 years, I volunteered. There was a studio specifically that was set up by a good friend of mine, Ernest Moase, you know, shout out to him. You know, a guy who's not even a musician, but you know what he did was he just was us, you know, because he saw that there's talent here. Built a studio in his house and would literally go live in his house. To a point where Ekaya, if Bengeko, Bebaz would die, for the Ernest.
He's there.
I'm always the one picking up the phone. Hello. Oh, right. Are you safe? I'm great. Sharp on Sunday. The time is only a Monday. You know, so I just volunteered, and then 4 years later, I was just tired of being a gas, you know, and I just took the leap of faith, and I came to Pretoria
Is that
study
where you met
music.
Shana?
Yeah, so Shana, first of all, Shota was my vocal coach, was my vocal teacher.
Or at the time you came to study?
When I came to study at Ockram School of Music in Victoria.
That's popular music.
Yeah, so he was my vocal teacher. And then something weird happened, man, in the school, because I just became friends with a lot of my lecturers. So we had relations at school as a student, and I would never breach that at school because I'm a student, you are a teacher, right? Yeah. But outside school, we're hanging out. You know, we in studio, we're working. So I used to like visiting Ushota and Edis Flat. Used to live in Sunnyside.
Sure.
Go there, we work, and then that's where I actually practiced my writing chops. Because now I was starting to write for other artists, for DJs. At that time, I remember that house music, a lot of the music was licensed. So your Vinita Vinces, your Christos would license music from the international guys to put in their compilations.
The compilations and stuff like that, yeah.
We came up with an idea and I said, no, why don't we make our own South African house music, right?
Okay.
And it's very important to put this. There were other guys as well at the time, you know. The Cisco Ribeiro, who's in Pretoria, DJ Cisco, you know, who also had a very huge movement at the time.
Yeah.
You know, sure, there were about Greg Nate, you know. There were a lot of other guys that we were all, you know, gunning for, let's create our own thing.
Sure.
You know, and then from there, that's how I met Black Coffee, you know, Kosnat Mapumulo.
Yeah.
The guys were doing their last year at now the former Pretoria Tech.
Okay.
So they're doing their last year, and here am I doing my first year. And then because Shota was already a member of Shana
at the time,
that's how I met Demo and Black Coffee.
Yeah.
Then we all started working together, and then that's when songs like Happiness came out, and then I smash hit Hello, you know, with myself and Black Coffee came out before Someday, you know, and Hello, it was Hello, and it was a song by Bantu Soul. I just forgot the song. Those songs were the foundation of what you now know as SA vocal house music.
Yeah, yeah.
Started from there, and then it branched out.
Yeah.
You know, to other cats who took it and just ran with it.
Okay. Got Zano and Hlobeautiful in studio. We're trying to get to know them just a bit before we chat about that number one song. It's called Lwandle. Second week at number one. All of that is happening, right?
Yeah.
At that point, don't you think I've made it? I mean, here you guys are inspiring something super, super brand new, because we used to compilations, international house, and you guys come with something. And Shana as well at that time was booming.
At that time, Shana had that song with Libo Matosa.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. And that song created havoc on radio and on the dance floors, you know? But there's also just, I think maybe just something weird in my brain. I take very long to celebrate things.
Okay.
So sometimes even if I have some major milestones happening in my life, I never see them immediately. I'll see it way later, you know, probably when the hype has died down. Like, no, man, actually that thing was huge.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always been like that. So even when that happened, we were on a mission.
Yeah.
You know, our mission was we want to have fun. Number one, making music that we like. We are inspired, yes, by, you know, the overseas cats who are doing house music, you know, your Louis Vegas, you know, and especially Louis Vega because his sound, you know, related to us a lot as Africans, you know, because of the rhythmic elements of that sound of his.
Yeah.
So when we coined the sound, you know, you had Yobantu Soul and his crew doing their thing. You know, you had us here, you know, myself, Black Coffee Demo, Shota, Zex Bantwini, you know, and we were all also, you know, doing our thing here. There were other guys, Oskido, you know, Bruce Sibitlo, you know, who were also doing their sound with, I just forgot his name, but one of the legendary bassists, you know, at the time, because the guys at Kalawa came with another sound that was live bass infused, and it took off as well.
Yeah.
You know, so we saw this as a movement, you know. So, and I'll speak for myself, I didn't think hey, we made it. You know,
Yeah,
I just thought, okay, it's moving now. You know,
Yeah.
it's moving, and it was about the movement. It wasn't about Zano.
Yeah.
It wasn't about Black Coffee. It wasn't about Shana. You know, it was a movement that we just saw taking off, and we just wanted to just make sure that it reaches other people, and then other guys can also come in and just take from where, you know, we have worked, and then elevate it to wherever they can elevate it to.
Yeah. Interesting you should speak about Lebo Matosa working with Shana. I know that you've worked with her.
Yes.
We'll come back to that. You, from a different era, right?
Yo.
I mean, all of those struggles was laying foundation for you, so to speak.
I'm like, there wasn't a South African house? What?
You didn't even know that. Like, really? Right?
Just mid-tempo. We're buying mid-tempo cassettes. Glenn Lewis, mid-tempo.
How easy was it for you to get in? Because you've already got an EP out, you know, shot your first music video. So 2020 was a good year for you. How easy was it for you to get into the commercial side of things? I mean, obviously, at school, you're training for that, but it's a different story going this side.
I don't think I'm in yet.
Yeah?
I think I'm in the whole way.
You are on a song that's number 1. You don't think you are in yet.
Okay, so we know about one hit wonders.
Okay.
Right? So we can come back and talk about me being in when I have the third song.
Okay.
That's number 1.
Fair enough.
Like not everyone, but there's a lot of people who've had songs that are number 1 and we don't even remember their names. So follow up is what's key.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it was and still is difficult, so to speak, just because the market is saturated now. And also right now is Amapiano season.
Yeah.
We called it Amapiano year, but then we realized the years were not ending. It was continuing.
Yeah.
So it's Amapiano season. I'm doing something very far from Amapiano. So, you know, it's having to fight with what's in right now, but also fighting with an overly saturated industry. There's a lot of vocalists, female vocalists. They are endless. So yeah, I wouldn't say I just woke up and got in. I think for me the advantage is pestering Zano. Not everyone has a Zano in their lives.
For sure.
You know, we were supposed to do this a long time ago. This man blue ticked me
What's
for
a long time
whole
ago?
year.
What's a long time ago?
So 2018 we spoke. He was my lecturer. So we had to submit songs as part of a school project, 30 songs, you know, and all of that. And there was one song that he really liked, you know, it stood out, and I didn't like the way it was produced. So I said, can we rework this song? Because while the beats are AFDA's intellectual property, but the lyrics are mine. He said, okay. 2019 comes, was I not talking to myself on WhatsApp like week after week? But just, I never give up. I was not tired. I was like, one day this man will respond.
Okay.
So that's how I got in, because I feel like without him, first of all, I wouldn't even be on a Lwandle, for instance, and I wouldn't have that mentorship, you know, to say, okay, so do it like this, you know, go for this angle. No, this is not the time to release. We'll release at this specific time. So for me, that's an advantage. Yeah.
Before we chat to you about Lebo Matosa and being a lecturer, right? Because that's quite similar to your story and Shorter's.
Yes.
You know, why do you feel the market is saturated? Because you're doing something completely different, like you said, from piano. Your side.
Yes.
What makes you feel there's just too many people?
Maybe it's because I come from art school and I see all the other people in my position wanting to come in.
You know how many people go to a medical school every year? And no doctor says, I'm not going to get a job because there's just too many.
That's different. And that's why my dad would have preferred for me to be a doctor.
Because I'm like, you know, if you were saying you're a piano artist and you're like, market is saturated, I'd be like, well, maybe, you know.
Yes.
But what you guys do, I don't think there's a lot of people.
Yes, so there's I guess like a bottleneck.
Yeah.
So it's not even just amapiano people wanting to get in, it's all the genres.
Yeah.
And then we just like filter through
Okay.
little by little, and
Yeah.
more mapiano artists get filtered through because this is their season.
Yeah.
Then everything else like, oh, actually this is a refreshing sound, we can play this when we take a little break from what's popular right now. So
Yeah.
it's not it's not like daytime when house music was popping, or when like the era that Mafiki Zolo and Malaika ran, like they ruled that era, you know, because that was their time.